Good day. I'm happy to welcome everybody on our forum for the artificial intelligence. Let me introduce, first of all, the people and the organization which had been co-organizer of our conference. Let's be conference. First of all, I would like to introduce Vietnam Software and IT Services Association, Ms. Nguyen Thi Thu Zang. She is the General Secretary of this very important and very famous Vietnamese association. Elsa.
Hello.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Ms. Zang. And the other co-organizer of our forum is Russian IT Association, РУССОФТ, which is located in St. Petersburg, but cover all over Russia. And the president of this organization, Mr. Makarov. And also, I would like to introduce Vice Chairman of the Association of Vietnamese Citizens in Russia, Mr. Nguyen Quoc Hung. He is from Moscow. Also, we are glad to see all of you. And here in our hall, I see Vietnamese students which study in St. Petersburg, and they're from National Research Information and Technology Mechanical Optical University, and from Polytechnical University in St. Petersburg. And of course, we are very happy to welcome Hanoi University of Science and Technology. They represented here by International Research Center of AI, and many other Vietnamese companies and institutes. Just now, I see that some of you sent me some memo to introduce some of important guests. So much, I'm very much sorry about a little bit shortage of time. So if possible, we just continue our forum. I'm from the Committee for External Relationship of St. Petersburg, Vice Chairman. My name is Kalganov, and I would like to give you a few minutes, just like introduction. On August 2020, the governor of St. Petersburg, Mr. Alexander Beglov, had decided to consider the cooperation with Socialist Republic of Vietnam as a priority direction of the international activities of the government of St. Petersburg. We had started an intensive cooperation with Vietnam from May 2017. During this time, we have prepared and conducted 3 major projects. The first one was 95th anniversary of the first arrival of Nguyen Ai Quoc Ho Chi Minh to Petrograd. At that time, our city had named Petrograd, now St. Petersburg, before Leningrad. And the second was the spiritual heritage of Ho Chi Minh 50 years later. The third one was Ho Chi Minh, patriotism and internationalism, 100 years together. Each of them had included dozens of cultural and business events. Moreover, about all top leaders of Vietnam have visited the governor of St. Petersburg, including the members of Politburo, about eight persons, and more than 20 persons of from Central Committee of CPV. Now we're implementing the 4th project, 2 centuries of friendship, 2 decades of strategical partnership, dedicated to the 20th anniversary of Declaration of Strategical Partnership between our 2 countries. Other major joint projects include the Russian-Vietnamese youth forums, the first of which was organized on the initiative of the Committee for the External Relationship of St. Petersburg. On October 2021, The fourth Youth Forum will be held in Moscow and St. Petersburg in full-time format. The second, the third, and the fourth forums had reached the federal level in our country and central level in Vietnam. In October 2020, with the support of Embassy of Vietnam, we opened the foundation stone on the site of the future monument of the President Ho Chi Minh in our city. Now the preparations of sketches of the monuments are on the way. We hope to open it on May 19th the next year. The project of Culture and Business Center of Ho Chi Minh City in St. Petersburg is being implementing as well. We hope the center will give more opportunities to St. Petersburg and the Vietnamese companies from the IT sector, in particular to find reliable partners. We consider the topic of today's forum is very relevant, and the modern level of technological development submits ever higher demands on automation and control systems. The complex implementation of international situation now and global market competition dictate the need for technological independence. In this regard, we consider it appropriate to cooperate with Russia and Vietnam in this area, which had traditional friendly relationships. Our committee wish you a fruitful work to all participants. And if you don't mind, now I give the floor to co-founder of this forum, Ms. Nguyen Thi Thu Zhang, the General Secretary of VINASA. Please.
Good morning and good afternoon, everyone. Firstly, I would like to say that I'm very happy to co-organize this event together with the city of St. Petersburg and the RUSSOFT. Maybe you know that VINASA, Vietnam Software and IT Services, was established in 2002. And our leaders are all trained in Russia. Many of them are trained in Russia. So all of our leaders are really love the country and the people from Russia. But I can say that in the IT industry, we are still don't have much opportunities to cooperate yet. So with this seminar, I think I really hope that this will be like the first break for the cooperation between our Vietnam IT industry and Russia IT industry. And I think that potential for our cooperation is really huge. But the thing is that we should work together, cooperate together to make things happen between our two countries. I can share with you some information about Vietnam ICT industry. When we established VINASA, the IT industry is quite small. With the revenue, it's just about 50,000 million US dollar. But now after 19 years of establishment, the IT industry of Vietnam is already reached 120 billion US dollar in 2020. And it is now the biggest industry in Vietnam. With the it takes about 14.7% of GDP of Vietnam. And of course, most of the revenue come from the FDI and the electronic and equipment exporting. yeah, for software and IT services, it take about 10 billion US dollar, and among that, 3.5 billion US dollar is we export for the software productions and services. So in the industry at the moment, we have 1.2 million people working in the industry, and only in the software industry we have now 220,000 people. With this, at the moment, we have 255 universities which have IT faculties, and every year we take about 50,000 with the enrollment of the IT here student is about 50,000 engineers. And as you may know that all the most elite students or pupils choose IT as their first priorities in the in their study. So that's why the quality of the human resource in Vietnam is now quite get high appreciation from other partners in other countries. Every year now, we have around 50,000 enrollment, and all the training courses that we are now focusing on is the new technology with kind of AI, IoT, or blockchain. And the government of Vietnam is already have good policies to allow private sector to involve in the training, IT training. So now in Vietnam, we have around some 10 private universities to train the IT and also other training courses also. And can say that the government of Vietnam also provide very good incentive policy for ICT enterprise. At the moment, especially for the incoming tax, for the other industry is 25%, but for the software companies, it's 0% incoming tax for the first 4 years, and the next 5 years is just 50%. So you can see that it is quite very good incentive regarding the tax for the corporate. Not only with the incoming tax for the company, but also the government also welcome the experts from overseas to come to Vietnam. So also the incoming tax for individuals or for the experts in the software industry is also can benefit from very good incentive for the individual incoming tax. Some words about the national the IT movement in Vietnam. Now the government of Vietnam is really focused on the IT applications. So in June last year, 2020, the government issued the National Digital Transformation Strategy to the year 2025 and targeted to 2030. And in that, the government will focus on the three main area. It is the digital government, the digital economy, and also digital societies. So it will open a lot of opportunities for cooperation between Vietnamese company and also the overseas partners. So for the what we need at the moment, it is all the solutions or product or solution or services to the e-government, towards the digital government, and solutions for smart city or digital transformations, and also the new technology trainings like AI, IoT, blockchain. And yeah, I can share with you that in Vietnam, we here with our association, we just finished our 5th Congress, and now we choose the target or the strategy for development for the our industry in the next 5 years is to develop the ecosystem for IT applications in the priority industry. There are 8 priority industry in Vietnam that the government choose to push the digital transformation. The second one is to build the ICT platform for those industries. And the third one is to focus on AI. And the last one is for education. So you can see that in our strategy for the periods of 2021 to the year 2025, we focus on the AI a lot. So this conference or seminar like this is really meaningful for us. And yeah, so for some potential cooperation scope, I think that, yeah, as you can see here, that I mentioned that human resources are one of the advantage of Vietnam. And now we have a good and quite a big number of human resource in the software industry comparing with other countries in the region. So we can work together with you, developed the software or solutions or services together using the human resource, the good and talented human resource in Vietnam. And also, we cooperate in the new technology area like AI. Later you can hear 2 presentations from Vietnam companies. They will present what they can do, and I think that they will be like you will see some interesting and something to cooperate with. And yeah, we can cooperate with the overseas partner in all kind of other activities like a web or mobile applications development, or we also can bring the solutions from Russia to Vietnam to distribute it in Vietnam. As I mentioned that we have a big market with now 96 million people, really a big market, and also the need for the solution for the digital transformation, for the smart city, for the digital government is really huge. So we are really open for those to bring the products from Russia to Vietnam. And also the last one will be the corporate in R&D. I think that Russia is very strong in R&D in the high technology. I think AI is also in one, and we can work together using in R&D, maybe do research in Russia and develop in Vietnam, or maybe can work together. So that is some areas that we think that Vietnam companies and Russia company can work together to cooperate in the ICT industry. Yeah, just some information from me like that. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Ms. Zhang, for the wide picture you had described for IT technology in Vietnam. And I see that now about 50 persons, 50 not persons, but 50 companies watch us, and I hope that later when we put the recording of this forum or seminar, like you told, we had a lot, much more participants. And now let we start the second part of our meeting, priorities of the Russian-Vietnamese cooperation in the field of informational technologies and digital transformation. And if you don't mind, I would ask Mr. Andrei Bezrukov, the president of Technological Sovereignty Export Association of Russia, to give his speech. And I would like just to remind that this association also helped a lot with preparation of this forum, and we thank this association very much. Mr. Andrei Bezrukov, could you please continue?
Thank you very much. First of all, my warm greetings to our Vietnamese friends with whom we have very extensive country-to-country cooperation and friendship for a long, long time. And I would like to focus on some essentials which come from the situation we are all in. We are entering a new digital era. We going into new technological cycle, which will bring us a lot of wonderful, exciting projects, but it also comes with challenges. And one of those challenges is the fact that IT industry is becoming more and more, how would I say, challenging in terms of international relationships. We have digital monopolies that are trying to impose their solutions, and we have governments that are fighting for digital sovereignty. And I'm sure Vietnamese government, as well as Russian government, clearly understands the importance of keeping sovereign capacities in IT and especially in AI as a new big area, which is developing very, very fast. And we face, both Vietnam and Russia, a situation if we don't have our own solution, if we don't have a very strong IT industry and AI developments, then we might go down to the digital colonialism when some monopolies in some country will dictate us what we can do or cannot do. And unfortunately, the prospect of cyber war is right there behind us. We have to do something about it. And in these terms, cooperation between Vietnam and Russia is very critical. First of all, those two countries for a long, long time trusted each other. And leadership of both countries understand the importance of strategic relationships. We have common challenges in the world. In these terms, I would like to, first of all, greet our friends with whom we have extensive contacts, unfortunately before COVID, from Hanoi University of Science and Technology. We had wonderful exchanges, and we would like to renew those exchanges once we have logistically possibility to do that. In terms of development of our joint project, I would draw your attention to the necessity to build a good common infrastructure. Common infrastructure in terms of developing those key projects, because if we have a goal of developing cooperation, if we talking about co-development, and that's exactly what we're trying to do, because the Russian side, the Russian companies are ready to share. They're ready to go into deep technological cooperation with a very fast growing and competent industry of Vietnam. And in order to do that, we need to have something in common. We have something together. We propose, as we already have a practice developed, to build a joint center for our cooperation. Let's call it Vietnamese-Russian Center for High Technology. And we can concentrate there the cooperation between various companies in Vietnam and Russia. We can have a center in Vietnam and we can have a center in Russia. And by doing this, we can pool resources and can pool focus of the companies together, not just in terms of purely company-to-company cooperation, but we can pool into these centers educational capacity that both countries have, university cooperation, cooperation in developing math education, which is very important for new generation of our researchers. And by doing this, we can create a long-term infrastructure for our cooperation, which will be very, very beneficial. I think our future meetings should touch upon not just cooperation between several companies and several projects, but establishing a wide framework between the two industries. Because if we have this framework, both industries can become stronger, will become more independent, will become more competent. And I think from the government to government point of view, it will be much, much easier to work on those projects. So once again, I would like to thank you for attending this event. I think this event is very important. And again, greetings to our Vietnamese friends and greetings to our friends in Russia. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Bezrukov. Thank you very much. And we hope that this center will be considered by the government of Russia Federation. Definitely, we will consider here in St. Petersburg, the government of St. Petersburg will consider about this center, and I hope it will head the future. Anyway, now let me introduce Mr. Valentin Makarov, the president of IT Association РУССОФТ, and now his speech.
Yes, good morning. Good morning. Very nice to be here. Thanks organizers to invite РУССОФТ to be one of the organizers of this event. I will make short introduction of РУССОФТ and what we are doing here and what is about our industry, our place in the global market, and then proposal for cooperation with Vietnam. Yes. Which one to make a change? Yes. Good. I will place here, okay?
Вот можно здесь.
Fine, thank you. РУССОФТ was created in 1999 here in St. Petersburg by 10 companies. Now we have 223 companies making both outsourcing service providers and making their own software. Every year we produce our annual report on software development service industry in Russia, and this report is published and provide a lot of information about what we are doing here, where we are, and what might be done together. We have agreements with ChinaSoft, biggest Chinese association of IT companies, with IndiaSoft or NASCOM, biggest association in India, also with Bitkom, biggest association in Germany, some American associations. So we are acknowledged as a Russian representative software industry in the world. We have offices or rep offices in Italy, in Bari, in India. Mr. Kakarkov is here, the chief of this office in India, and also in Netherlands, and now we are coming to Turkey. will be very happy to participate in a project of creating this center in Vietnam. I personally was very pleased to see Vietnamese development when I was in Vietnam probably 10 years ago. It was already seen countries booming, is growing, very young population, motivated people, very good educational system. And also what is important, that you have so many people who used to be taught in Russia. And these years of cooperation, of studentship in Russia are always kept in the memories and basement of cooperation, at least. As you know, probably RUSSOFT company in Russia. They have office in Vietnam, and this office is based on the people who used to be taught in Russian universities. Just several words about our achievements. You know, with the service outsourcing service providing in software engineering, in the list of 100 best service providers in the world, we have 6 companies from Russia this year. Every year it changed from 5 to 8 companies from Russia are in the list of 100 best service providers. And we are third after United States and India in this listing by number of companies in this rating. As to our software vendors, we have only for last 5-6 years, we have a lot of companies coming into the Gartner Magic Quadrants. So the catalog or rating of best producers of software in the world, in particular software segments. And you see a lot of companies, a major part of the companies are in this cybersecurity. Another important thing, as you probably know, ICM, the Social Computer Machinery, produces its annual ICM Programming Collegial Contest. As you see, during last years, we keep always World Championship and 3 to 4 medals out of 12. So universities from St. Petersburg, from Moscow, from Novosibirsk, Ural area, Volga area, from all over Russia are inside of the best universities, producing best in the world software developers. Another confirmation from HackerRank is a California-based company from the United States, which make a rating of software developers based on the opinion of managers of companies in California. So you see China and Russia, equal positions, best software developers in the world, and then East Europe and Far East, 2 regions which produce best developers, and then somewhere 23 like that, United States, and 30 something India. Just some figures about our export. So you see we are growing every year. At the beginning, 2000, we have been growing 30, 40%, 60%. Now it is growth of 12, 14%. But last year, full year 2019, we have been growing 17%. It was a very good year before pandemic. In a pandemic time, Gartner was predicting that in pandemic time, IT market in the world will coming down by 6%. Instead, we have been growing 12% in Russian market and 10% in the export. So our estimations is we have export reached $7 billion the year 2019. We have been growing in overseas sales by $8.55 billion, including export, and those money coming to Russian companies which have their offices outside of Russia. We have altogether 580,000 software developers in the country, and this number is growing 8% a year. In our software industry, we have 190,000 people, and 10,000 of them are working outside of Russia in the Russian offices outside of Russia. For year 2020, we just finished the first preliminary calculations of our export and revenue. So we see 10% growth rate of our software market and about 10% growth of our export compared to data from IDC, which expected at the beginning of pandemic that Russian IT market will come down 40%. After 3 months, they say not 40, 18%. After 3 months, they said not 18, 8%. And now they say we will grow 8%. So expectations of foreign analysts were wrong, and Russian market is growing instead of pandemic time. Even then, all these distant learning, distant work, distant trading, all these things, particularly entertainment, contribute a lot of growing IT sector in Russia, a lot of digitalization of Russia. So for some cases it's bad, for IT industry it was very good. Applications for artificial intelligence. So finally we're coming to RAI because it is a title of our event today. So as you see, our Russian companies are working in every sphere of artificial intelligence. We calculated 24 companies, 44 companies of RUSSOFT members out of 223 are working in artificial intelligence. In the areas like image recognition or video stream recognition or voice recognition and synthesis, multi-language translation, automatic translation, intellectual text treatment, big data analysis, intellectual decision-making, social behavior and human physiology analysis. So in any area, because we are global. When we are working 6 companies best out of 100 in the world, we are working in every new sphere in the world. For huge American corporations, for Germany, for Japan, everywhere. So we compete in this global market and we bring this knowledge to Russia to introduce it in digital transformation of Russia. Geographical markets of Russian industry, US and European Union are still the biggest markets for us. Their share coming down from 72% to 52% in 19, but still is a huge market where we strongly presented and working with our customers for 20 years. Next thing is Southeast markets. So for last 5 years, after all these turbulences in Ukraine, our industry is more and more inclined to work with developing countries, particularly Southeast Asia. In Southeast Asia, there is China, huge industrial power. There is a number of countries with very important potential in software development, in IT industry, and altogether in economic growth. And we consider this cooperation in the Southeast with Vietnam, Indonesia, Malaysia, India, all these countries as a not alternative, but a good balance to develop of Chinese development. And we see that this move, which Mr. Andrei Bezrukov was saying, this, I would say, independent of global economies, union of countries, make very important pool of competences of people resources, human resources, of technological competences to be very good balance, to make balance to China, to America, to European Union. And I think Russia, Vietnam, Malaysia, Indonesia, all these countries might create this pole. The stronger this pole is, the better for the global world to have several big poles, technological competences in the world. Russian market is growing, and you see we have net increase of share of Russian market as a priority markets for Russian companies. So we put our knowledge gained in the West to Russia to make digitalization more fast and more important. Developing countries, their share have been growing from 5% to 11% during those only 3 years. And we consider this trend is very net and very normal and very needed for our economy. Initiative of our government in 2020, during pandemic time, our government and president took very important decisions, making Russian jurisdiction very attractive in the world, probably the best now in the world. So we have social taxes coming down from 30% for all economy to 14% in software industry during last 12 years. And now these social tax coming down to 7.6%. Also, tax on profit came down from 20% to 3%. Also, there is introduction of VAT on software, on imported software, and no VAT on the local software produced by companies being Russian legal entities. Also, there is a lot of money dedicated to Russian fund of IT development, and this fund now is strongly supporting move for digital transformation and also for input substitution. Also, these big programs like National Technology Initiative for Digital Russia programs are being changed a lot to facilitate and accelerate digital transformation. And the important trend is to support and invest in big data, artificial intelligence, virtual reality, quantum technologies, neurotechnologies, telemedicine, robotics, and other cyber physical systems. Our proposal for cooperation. Evident proposal. Let's look what we are producing here in software as our software engineering services and implement it in Vietnam to accelerate your digital transformation, to bring our knowledge from the West, from Russia to Vietnam, to accelerate your transformation. Next is involvement of Russian IT services companies and our software vendors in this transformation process in Vietnam, but also in global cooperative programs of creating new platforms. Now economic life is changing. We have a new technological setup. It needs new approaches and new platforms, not Microsoft and Intel, but new platforms based on quantum communications, quantum, for example, calculations. So we need to come to this new technological setup with new ideas. These ideas should be implemented in form of platforms. These platforms should be done not by private company, by Google. They should be constructed by free societies, by these independent societies based on free software. It is more faster, much faster. It is more reliable. It is open to everybody to create applications based on these platforms. So we are welcome to come together to make these platform development projects. And also important to make it coordinated move to create joint standards, not to depend on standards implemented by IT giants in the world, but to create together these new standards and implement them in Vietnam and Indonesia and Russia, in Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, to make Eurasia prosper because of these joint standards, which will not bring money to those who produce it in America, but to those who produce it together on an equal basis. So probably I will finish with this, my speech, and on one slide. It is a so-called Eurasian quantum way. So we propose to create a new infrastructure for this new technological setup. This new infrastructure on a physical basis provide all countries participating in the project ability to, on a physical level, be protected against any invasion of third party. And we invite Kazakhstan, China, Uzbekistan, all these countries in Germany and France and in the West to participate in this project. This provide you new infrastructure, which will help Eurasia altogether to prosper much faster than if we are divided into small countries and compete with each other. And when we create this infrastructure, we shall compete, but based on these applications based on this infrastructure. So you are welcome to cooperate. We're happy to work with you. And now finally, let's make floor to those who will speak directly about artificial intelligence. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I hope soon on Eurasian Quantum Way map will be soon Ho Chi Minh City and Hanoi. And now our Vietnamese speaker, Mr. Nguyen Tuan Dic from the company AIMSoft. Please.
Thank you. Thank you so much for inviting me to this conference. So I have shared my screen. I hope that you can see it. So today I would like to give you a brief introduction about AI development timeline in Vietnam and some case study and the cooperation opportunities between Vietnam and Russia. So first, let me introduce about myself. So I am an AI researcher. I got my PhD in AI from the University of Tokyo in Japan. And then I worked for several years in Tokyo in many AI company, data science company. And then I came back to Vietnam in 2016 at the beginning of the Vietnam-Japan AI cooperation chat. And I have deployed more than 200 AI solutions to Japan, UK, Europe, and Vietnam market. And I'm interested in deploying Vietnam AI solution to Russian market. So let's see about recent timeline of AI research and application in Vietnam. So as you know, in 2016, we have development in deep learning algorithm. So we have practical deep learning algorithm in the world. And then we see NVIDIA widespread its GPU infrastructure to the world in 2007. So at this time in Vietnam, we only have AI research in academia. We have some AI conference in Vietnam at this time. So next, in 2009, we have ImageNet. It's a very large image network with semantics annotation. This is a very big project that breaks in the AI development in the world. And we have Google self-driving car project. And then in 2011, we have Watson beat human in Jeopardy. So what happened in Vietnam? In 2012, we have VLSP. It's a Vietnamese language and speech processing national research project. So the government invests in AI in 2012 to develop some Vietnamese natural language processing and speech processing project. And in 2013, in the world, we have data science and big data boom. So everyone talking about data science, data engineering, data scientists. In 2013. And then in 2014, in the world, we have the virtual assistant boom. So everyone talking about Siri, Cortana, Google Now, Google Assistant. And in Vietnam, we have Vietnamese Association for Pattern Recognition. So it's a computer vision research association, and it's held some conference about pattern recognition in Vietnam. So as you can see, before 2015, the main AI research and development in Vietnam is mainly in academia, not in industry. So in 2015, I think you can see that it's the start of the AI boom in the world. And in Vietnam, we have some researcher in the university working on virtual assistant to follow the virtual assistant boom in the world. So as you can see, in Vietnam, we closely follow the AI flow of the world. And then 2016, I think 2016 is a very big year for AI in Vietnam. And you know, and also in the world, as you can see that in the world, we have AlphaGo. We have some researcher talking about AI dangerous, the warning about AI weapon and ethics. They begin to talk about ethics in AI. Yeah, so in Vietnam, we have a first large-scale AI research center that is funded by an FDI. The company is called All. And also in 2016, we began to develop AI for Japanese market. And then in 2017, we have various Vietnamese chatbots to follow the trend about virtual assistant. We developed Vietnamese chatbot. We can see a chatbot boom in Vietnam in 2017. And in the world, OpenAI developed an AI that beats human in Dota 2 game. And so in 2018, we have a AI clone, AI book restaurant from Google, and in Vietnam, Vinasa, the organization Ms. Giang, they organized top 10 awards for industry 4.0 company. So I think this award have a very big impact for the AI and IoT application for industry in Vietnam. And then also in 2018, we have a big AI conference in Vietnam called AI for Life. We have many companies started the application of AI. And we have Vingroup, a very big company, domestic company in Vietnam. They invested in big data. They invest about 50 million US dollar to big data research. And at this time, I established my company. We are working on multimodal AI. It's a new AI paradigm. And then in 2019, we have Vingroup. They accelerate the investment for AI. They established Vin AI with a budget of about 50 million US dollar. In the world, we have AI fake news generated by GPT-2. And then in 2020, we have GPT-3. It's a breakthrough on AI. AI now can write code, create poetry, solve math problem. So that's the timeline, the recent timeline of AI research and application in Vietnam and the world. So what happened with AI in Vietnam after 2016? So before 2016, AI in Vietnam was still in academia. So we have some AI conference and AI researchers. And following the world AI boom from 2015, and also we have the background at Vietnam is a big provider for IT offshore development services. So we have many talented software developers with good background in mathematics, statistics, computer science, and also until 2016, as I present before, we have investment from FDI, from some big domestic company. So it started the AI R&D boom in Vietnam, actually in 2016. So after that, we have media coverage about AI. So the newspaper talking about AI every time. The company attention for AI, organization attention for AI, and we also have state policies for AI. So after 2016, we have the application of AI began to spread into the government, business, and life. So that's the timeline of AI in Vietnam. So are Vietnamese companies ready for AI and digital transformation? So the answer is yes. They are willing for AI and digital transformation. They have support from the users. They have support from the government. They have talented engineers. But the problem is that the budget for AI is limited in company in Vietnam. And also the price performance ratio is not so good. So I think we are improving this to have the AI. We have more and more AI application in industry in Vietnam. So here I would like to show some case study. So before 2016, we have data science R&D center funded by some FDI company. So here they are from Silicon Valley. So the founder are Vietnamese, and they hire talented Vietnamese data scientists and researchers from US, EU, Japan, Russia to come back to Vietnam and work for them with big salary. And so in 2016, we have real FDI AI R&D center. So this R&D center funded by Japanese venture capital funds, and the founders are not Vietnamese. This is a very important thing. So here we have deep cooperation between Japan and Vietnam for AI development. So also we have some domestic big player also join the AI R&D race. So here you can find some keyword about the company name that are working on AI. And so after 2016, we have both FDI firms and domestic big companies joined the AI R&D chain. So especially, as I saw before, Vingroup invest more than 100 million USD to the AI R&D from 2018. So here is some successful AI cooperation case study. First, we have offshore development. So before 2016, AI R&D center are mainly 100% out by overseas company, and they only develop products for the parent company. But from 2016, Vietnamese offshore development companies began the AI software solution development for Japan, UK, EU, US market. So here are some notable companies that developing AI solution. And for research, we have university research corporation, such as MICA Research Institute. We have company university research corporation. For example, recently, Naver, a big company in Korea, established an AI research center in Hanoi University of Science and Technologies. And for company cooperation, actually, we have no real example of AI company cooperation yet, but we have some companies that receive funds from FDI and develop AI. And we have 100% owned subsidiary of offshore development company. So here's a proposal for Vietnam-Russia AI cooperation opportunities. So what do we have? We have talented Vietnamese students graduated from Russian university. So they can be some bridge between Russia and Vietnam. We also have successful Vietnamese businessmen from Russia and SNZ countries. We have big tech companies who are invested by Russia venture capitalists like Coke. So I think we can cooperate in AI development in Vietnam for Russia market. So we also can localize the Russian AI products for Vietnamese market, like search engine product, Yandex, robotic RPA control system. And we also can ship Vietnamese AI product to Russian market. Like you know that in Vietnam, we have some very famous AI application for the world, like Elsa Speak, Got It. Here, I'm a receptionist, AI product from my company. So we have various other AI solutions for Russia. Yes, that's all. Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much, Mr. Dick. And we hope that there are grounds for cooperation, even though only one page, 22nd, for the Vietnamese-Russian cooperation. I hope after this seminar, after this forum, we'll get much more ideas. Anyway, now the turn is for Mr. Vadim Kokotov, Deputy Director of B. Petron Company.
I have my presentation, please. Petron. That's what. Once again, good morning, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, colleagues, comrades. I would like to attract your attention that in order to talk about artificial intelligence, we have to think about building the trusted environment for our software application. Because if we don't apply for trusted environments, so how we can trust to results we achieve with our solution. Just one slide about Bipetron. It's R&D and manufacturing company. It's a member of Russian government National Champion Program. I would like to stress your attention that Russia is very good, not only with software developers, but don't forget about hardware platform available in Russia, because most of international customer consider US or Chinese platforms, but Russia have to have own IT independence and invested quite huge resources to build the localized IT platforms, talking about ICT, telecom equipment, different kind of data center, supercomputer, communication equipment, satellite communication equipment. That equipment is really developed and made in Russia and is available to consider for our cooperation. This is an important message. Bipetron is also representative of RUSSOFT Association in India, and we have the same agenda for Indian market. We have to share, we can share our cooperation with India, experience and achievements, and even not only achievements, but stories, not successful stories as well. So we have bad experience here. We would like to base that kind of, deliver that kind of trusted ICT environment and build on that ICT environment our AI experience, face recognition, voice recognition, cybersecurity software, e-management, we can call it e-government, IoT, blockchain, including quantum blockchain application, marketplace. It's important based on our experience in Indian market, and manned drive and robotics application. Our thinking, first of all, about the application is such kind of paramilitary is require high-end IT solution, first of all. Like port security, different kind of civil and industrial security application like airports, power plants, dams, bridges, and highways, Coast Guard and ports. Members of RUSSOFT has application for criminal and cyber security investigations. Definitely smart city, talking about video surveillance. Bureau of Immigration and Disaster Management Forces. That's our, in our eyes, should be the major targets for our application, first of all. And we have a kind of business proposal model to build a win-win business approach to let both parties to benefit out of our cooperation. This is an important message that Russian companies have the technologies which is competitive to American and Chinese one. We are looking for cooperation with Vietnamese companies to provide actual application on the first stage. This is important for us in our eyes. For the second stage, I would like to propose a manufacturing and actual transfer of technology in Vietnam on the third stage, which not too many players in the market can propose. And we definitely ready to share our technologies and share our technologies. And the next stage, we would like to run a joint R&Ds and develop our business solution for the Asian market, Eurasian community, and Pacific Ocean community countries. That's my very brief presentation. Thank you very much for listening. And we are really open to discuss our opportunities. Thank you. Have a nice day.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Kokatkov, and thank you for keeping time. Now the floor to Mr. Chan Hoang Tung from Vietnam. He's the manager of Me Land Company. Please.
Good morning and good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, I hope that you are listening to me well. This slide gonna be not too general, but it will focus on very specific application of AI. So we in Milan is a company about, well, we are not selling real estate, but we are trying to develop technology and apply technology into the real estate. So in this slide, I'm talking about how we are using AI to estimate the price of real estate properties. So I will start with the introduction about the problems and the classical way for people to deal with the problems. And I will go a little bit about detail how we actually use AI to estimate the price of whatever properties. And I will briefly discuss about the challenges that we are dealing with. And finally, a short introduction about the whole products that we are developed at the Milan. So real estate estimate is the problem of trying to estimate the price of real estate properties. So for example, if you have a house or an apartment that you are not using yet, and you want to put it for rent, and you ask, okay, if I put that for rent, how much should I obtain for each month? Or let's say if you want to put it for sale, then how much would you get from that? So the classical way to answer that question, it's gonna be the most classical way is going to try to consult some experts, or you go to a real estate agencies, you give the detailed information about your house, and then you're gonna get wait for 1 or 2 days, and then you get that, okay, if the house put in for rent, you get that money, and for sale you get that money. So in that case, you're gonna have to pay some price pay a bit some money to get that information. Or you can try to find that information by yourself. You can walking around the area, asking people for if with that house, if you put for rent, you get how much for that. Or you can Google it. So basically, by that way, in the end, you have a rough estimation of how much you can get. But doing that is it will cost you time. So it's time consuming. So our aim is to try to develop an AI or a machine that when you put the input at some like the location of the house, the area, the number of bedrooms, and then it will analyze that information and then return the number. Let's say if you sell that, it would not be 500 million, well, for example. So that is the problem that we are trying to tackle in Milan in this very specific real estate estimation. Another application could be, for example, if you have some money that you don't want to, you don't want to put it in the bank, and they wonder, okay, if I have 50,000, and which kind of apartment that I can buy, because in general, the price of the real estate will go up in the long term. So one way to save the money is to use that and buy an appropriate apartment, for example. So again, you can go to, if you want to have that information, you can go to the agencies, and with agency, obviously you have to pay some price to get that information. Or you can take a bike or a car and then go around and you look for the advertisement and you asking people for the apartment for sale and you negotiate. So again, in the end, it will either cost time or money to find the information. So if we can develop a system that can automatically do that, then it will save a lot of time and money. So in order to do that, in order to build a system that when you put some input, then it will return the price that for that properties, then the idea is that the assumption that we made is that similar house gonna have kind of similar price tags. So if you have two house with similar features and kind of close together, close with each other, then the assumption is that the price of the first one should be not too far away from the second one. So in general, that assumption gonna be okay, well, acceptable. So based on the assumption, we try to construct a machine that can do two things. The first one is it will automatically decide the features that will be well represent the property styles. For example, here in this diagram, we take an analysis of the data that we have based on, let's look at that figure. It is the relationship between the area and the price per meter square. So look at that. The downtrend is quite clear. It means if the apartment have really big, if the area is very big, then the price per meter square gonna be quite small, and vice versa. If the area is quite small, then the price per meter square gonna be large. So based on data, we know that, okay, if we want to estimate the price per meter square, then the area is a very important factor that we have to take into account. Yeah, I know that is common sense, but again, this data verify that common sense. More specifically, the machine can also do things like the number of bedrooms. For example, when we analyze the data, we see that the number of bedrooms is an important factor for determining the price of an apartment, but it has very small effect on pricing of a house. So if we want to evaluate the price of a house, then the number of bedroom is not an important factor. And vice versa with the house, then the gate direction, okay, the gate facing on the north or facing on the south will have really strong impact on the price of the house. So with AI, it can automatically select really good feature that appropriate for a certain property style. That's the first thing. And the second thing is that after determine good features, then it can automatically group similar property together. So let's say if you want to estimate the price of properties, to give information like the location is in Hanoi, the area is 50 meters square, it has 4 floors, something like that. So the machine will try to find 100, let's say, similar properties around that area. And then it plots the histogram, and based on that histogram, then you can kind of have a really good estimation of the price for that kind of apartment, of a house. So this is the proposal that we are building right now with the system we are running to try to estimate the price of properties. And that being said, within AI, there are two very components. The most important component is the data and the model. With model, we have no problems. We can use neural network, very model. We can use random forest, classical one, it works really well. But then to be able to have a really good system, then the data and the system, the model must both be really, really good. In these very specific problems, we have the most challenges things are in the data, because the data is kind of noisy. It's missing a lot of information. For example, here I have a table with some feature that are important when we want to evaluate the price of a properties, like the location, the number of bedrooms, the street width, the width that go in front of the house, the street width is also important factor with the area and floor. So that are own favorite features. But then with the property A, we have a lot of feature, which is kind of easy to evaluate the price, to estimate the price. But for property B, well, it has only location, area and floor. Then with that one, it's like almost impossible to try to guess the price from that. So with our data, this happened a lot. So with that, we need to do interpolation. Well, we have to try to infer from somewhere, or we can ask, we have to come to the agencies. But in the end, the data is a huge problem here in our application. Also, this is a small map of Hanoi, Vietnam capital. And with Hanoi, we have a lot of information. We have many data here. But then if we go out of Hanoi for 50 kilometers, and then it's gonna be very rare properties here. So like the data is scratched through from here to there. So with the reason that are very few data, that's gonna be really hard to try to estimate that. And also we have many type of real estate. We have renting apartment, we have trading house, we have trading villa. Only we have roughly 40 type of real estate. So in which each type, they are totally different from each other. So we have to do each type, which type of a model to work well with that. So and in the future, actually, we are trying to also making use of the information from user. For example, if that property have missing information, then we can ask for user of Milan. Let's say one user say that, okay, I'm living close to that building. So the user can provide more information about that property to Milan. So we are trying to develop some other application to call for the information from user. And wow, so that a bit technical. And finally, there's a bit about Milan and Me Group. We are a startup that trying to making use of the high technology, especially AI with artificial intelligence. And in the far future, we try to become let's say a Grab-like technology in real estate. That if you are a broker or a buyer or seller, and you will be connected really easily. You can pay if you have any money, you can use that to buy even a portion of the real estate. So in the far future, for now we are at the very first step of that long journey, but we are in the right track. And for now, we are developing in Me Groups many other products like MeCRM to manage the customer. We have MeMap, in which we have the exact location of each land, and then we have MyS to support for the advertisement of brokers. So that is my presentation. Jason, thank you for the attention.
Thank you, Mr. Tung. We know if we need to have some property in Hanoi or somewhere nearby, we definitely will go to a company. Thank you. Anyway, now please, Mr. Vladimir Krylov, the professor of High School of Economics and advisor of Artesia.
Xong rồi.
Mute. Okay. Dear Chairman, dear distinguished participants of the forum, I would like to extend my thanks to the organizers for the opportunity to speak today. It will be not about the project, it will be about, hello? Hello? Where is my
It's okay, we listen to you. We listen. Please continue. Please continue.
Okay. Do you see my presentation?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, thank you. Having worked in the field of information technology for over 30 years so far, I have repeatedly experienced transitions from one technological wave to another. Today, I would like to share my experience on how an IT service company can successfully navigate the challenges that emerge from the rising interest of the market to the alluring possibilities and uses of artificial intelligence technology development. So I represent Artesio. Artesio, the art of technology, is a company that has been on the international software development market since 2001, successfully and closely following the high-tech development trends, computing over 1,000 successful projects of varying architecture, programming technology, and user interfaces. In the last decade, our company faced a new challenge, the market interest in the use of artificial intelligence. There was a need to build a proper strategy for the company and its further implementation. Artesio's management board then decided to invite me to undertake this project. With my experience in multinational companies such as Microsoft, Intel Corporation, various startups, as well as many years of work in universities, and I tried to find the suitable entry path to, for our software development company in this grand sphere of human activity. And we plan to reach quite utilitarian goals, to use it in our current business and to avoid losing new sources of profit in this new competence. The main problem we face is that Artesio is not a product company, but rather a service company. It's a very specific situation for resolve this problem. The return of investment in overcoming the threshold of entry into new technology is almost impossible to assess. We don't release a new product to the market, but search for software development orders instead. The main cost of entry into new technology is the qualified and competent staff. In the case of artificial intelligence technologies, the price of human resources is incredibly high, and the supply, the market is extremely sparse. Hiring competent specialists through requirements agencies is time-consuming and only feasible if there is guaranteed development order in the line. We cannot take a very big risk on the early phase of project, maybe on pre-sale phase. On the other hand, for effective negotiations with potential customers and effective marketing, a company must have specialists capable of performing the responsibilities of analysts, sales people, and marketers with the necessary level of competence in the field of artificial intelligence. To solve this problem of finding the start of the loop, we have this loop here. Start of the loop problem, it's a very big problem for IT service company. In Artesio, we decide to use a process that can be called distributed crystallization. In essence, if talk very shortly, the company invests only in the creation of the virtual artificial intelligence laboratory, which based on expertise of university professors and graduate students. This laboratory, virtual AI lab. This lab conducts mass training of company employees, programmers, analysts, and salespersons alike. Employees who have taken part in training complete graduation projects in which they apply the knowledge gained to solve practical problems, including pre-sale problems, and become AI competence crystallization centers in their subdivisions, offices, and project groups. The virtual laboratory's purpose is the integration of ongoing courses in the artificial intelligence, basic and machine learning for programmers series, regular courses for analysts and marketers, occasional lectures for sales people, and the implementation of projects by students and alumni. The approach adopted by the company allowed to create staff infrastructure capable of responding so quickly to customers' tasks and staffing teams with the necessary competence in the field of artificial intelligence in a short period of time without hiring expensive and scarce qualified specialists in the labor market. With very timed investment, very limited investment, the company accumulates the necessary expertise on the basis of continuous training by the company's internal research. Our company has created all necessary computing infrastructure and integrate resources of cloud service providers. Regular training topics for programmers, for example, include machine learning with structured data, natural language processing, time series forecasting and classification, and casual artificial intelligence. For each lesson, we develop Jupyter notebooks and sets of homework. Today, this process is in progress several years. We are ready to help organize a similar workflow in other IT service companies, for example, in Vietnam companies. Artesio also offers help to everyone involved in creating applications and commercial products based on AI algorithms. So thank you very much for your attention, for your listening. I am finished.
Okay, thank you very much. And now the floor to Vice President of the company Beta, Mr. Nikolayenko.
Dear friends, dear partners, I'm very happy to see you all on this conference, and I would like to tell you about the organized instruments in effective interaction for the smart city development. First, let me tell you about our company. The Beta company is a technology partner in the field of computer vision, machine learning, and industrial Internet of Things. The company expertise covers the intelligent vehicle movement control systems, AI-based passenger traffic counting, computer vision and water treatment, and video surveillance systems for city safe and barrier-free mobility solutions. What we do? We offer our customers both ready-made solutions and the development of industrial systems that can solve problems in the field of video analytics aimed in the customer defining patterns of behavior or violation. The company products are solutions helping companies to achieve their specific planning financial goals by increasing productivity, minimizing the impact of human factors, and improving the safety of technological process and reducing operational costs. In 2020, we headed the RUSSOFT Smart City Committee, where we aggregate the best practices for digitalization of the cities. Together with the RUSSOFTt members, we invite our Vietnam friends and partners to utilize our expertise and increase the safety, efficiency, and economical viability of the cities. The global economical and infrastructure challenges clearly revelated that those in the charge of city transformation should revise the approach. Oh, let me show the presentation, sorry. To approach the urban development, accelerate the implementation of digital initiatives, and overcome existing barriers between government and innovation providers. The strategic goal of the committee is to connect technologies with the best practices and offer customized solutions that meet citizens' needs regardless of their city regions. The key objectives for our partners are creating the demo zones that combine innovative technologies and approaches demanded to the region. Consulting city managers and the agencies that are involved into the city transformation on applicable and cost-efficient solutions. There are some barriers that we have to know and to pass. Uneven automation and development of the infrastructure, insufficient competence in the IT and designed complex data-driven management systems, low awareness of ready-made solutions and the last tax, and the budget collisions and problematic use of R&D approaches due to the long return of investments. This is an algorithm for development of digital environment and with our committee. The first is framework agreement. When we making the framework of agreements between the RUSSOFT and the region. Audit, when we collect the information for the priority areas and develop the digital environment for the regional departments. Selection of solutions, where we present all our solutions and select the specific solutions for the future pilot projects. Making the demo for the industry, piloting solutions and obtain results for the future work. Commissioning, when we put the hardware and software to the commercial operations and organize the training for the people who will work with this technology. And the last is scaling, where we adaptate our technologies for the wide economic conditions. And in the end, because I have a very lack of time, I would like to tell you about the expertise of committee. The main, like you can see that this is a GIS services, 3D and thermal imaging monitoring, adaptive equipment maintenance, smart constructing control, housing and public utilities control, biometric, public safety and computer vision, traffic control and smart parking, computer vision based monitoring of the passenger flows, AI based data analytics and translation, and ecology monitoring with the smart lighting. Thank you very much. This is all what I would like to tell you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And now the report of CEO of Research Inform company, Mr. Sergey Azhegov, please.
Hello, colleagues. Good afternoon. Let me start with the presentation. Hold on a second. Do you see my screen well now?
Yes.
Yes, please start.
Yeah, my name is Sergey. I'm the CEO of the Research Inform company. We are information security development company, so we're in the market for more than 25 years. And my presentation will not be about AI or our technologies to prevent data leakages. My presentation is presentation of the project, which is non-commercial, which I'm driving right now in Russia, and I guess you might be interested in listening to it. So for more than 3 years, we do our international sales around the world, mostly in Asia, Latin America, and Africa. This is how I came to that idea of the, we call it right now IT university, but it was originally started from, if you ever heard soft power definition in the diplomacy, that's the same idea, but for the IT sector. Traveling and visiting customers all around the world, I see sometimes a huge lack of education in the countries and in the companies we're dealing with. So this is how I came to the idea that it would be nice to have some sort of university here in Russia, which will include not just 1 or 2 vendors, which will include the maximum number of vendors, of the Russian vendors, which developing their product and which are dreaming to go abroad with it. So the idea of that university is that every particular vendor generates or organize 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever he feels right, number of educational programs, which can go either online or offline. So the idea is that that university is not focused on the real students. It focuses on people who already have their position in the companies, who already have the position related to IT in their current companies or in the government companies, and which feel the lack of knowledges at some particular area. For example, searching form is quite well. Searching form has 2 or 3 different educational programs which helps people to understand how to do proper in-play monitoring. Kaspersky has knowledges how to prevent viruses and other malware on the computers. We have other well-known vendors like EBI, which knows everything about OCR and so on and so on. So the idea of the university is that the vendors basically held their online or offline courses and gives to the students, which are not really students, which are currently working people in IT, gives them practical knowledges, gives them ideas how to solve that or that problem. Thus, people after graduating that courses came back to their companies, come back to their office, and this is how they know how to solve the problem, and they saw the particular tools from Russian vendors which they can use. This is how little by little, slowly, we can get our IT products implemented in more and more companies and countries, because we have, let's say, baptized some people through education. So the target is for that project is people who already work in the companies and feel lack of education, IT specialists, CIO, CISO, and so on and so on. So right now, as I said, we do this in the Russian market. We do have our training center, and we do that work for already like 5 or 7 years, and we see that, you know, it helps our company to expand number of clients through that education. So I strongly believe that and right now we're working on it, we can collaborate Russian vendors, and we will be welcome to educate our Vietnamese partners, Vietnamese colleagues, to give them best knowledges we have. So that's a little bit about that idea. I'm currently in the process of negotiation with Russian Institute of IT export support. So shortly, I guess within this year, we will finalize that project, and we'll be happy to invite you to join it either offline or online. Right now, if you want to participate in that project, you can contact me directly. Later, you'll see my contact details. If you are interested in getting right now to some education programs we have, so you are please welcome to visit our website to see what programs, what educational programs we have. We can now handle it on Russian, English, and Spanish language. So yeah, this is the list of the this is the list of the courses we have right now. So it's all related to data leakage prevention, in-play monitoring, and risk management. This is what we are professional in. So yeah, everybody welcomes to send me an email or call me and we can discuss if you want to participate as a vendor or if you want to participate as a potential students, feel free to contact me and I'll update you on the current stage of the project. Thus, thank you very much, colleagues. I'm done. So if you have any question, feel free to ask. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Zhegov. And before I give the final word to summarize the conference to the president of RUSSOFT, Mr. Makarov, I would like to say a few words. First of all, I would like to thank Mr. Pham Quang Minh from T1 Group and Vice Chairman of Association of Vietnamese Citizens in Russia, Mr. Hung, for outstanding support for this conference. And once more, thank you very much, the Komsomol organization of Ho Chi Minh in St. Petersburg for support us. And I would like to congratulate our Vietnamese friends and colleagues with the 46th anniversary of National Reunification Day, and wish you all the best. Mr. Makarov, please.
Yes, thank you. So as you see, this conference is not a marketplace for pushing, selling our products from Russia to Vietnam or Vietnam to Russia. It's more about organization of a kind of infrastructure for training, for learning better for each other, for making representation offices of Russian software companies in Vietnam, Vietnamese companies in Russia. So it's a prolongation of what Mr. Bezrukov was saying, to create infrastructural points of contacts of communication with Russia and Vietnam. Obviously, both countries have huge potential in IT, huge. What I have heard today from the President of your association, we have very similar numbers of people, very similar level of organization of educational work, and very similar desire to push forward these talented people to create businesses and to create welfare for their countries, for Russia and for Vietnam. We have rather similar interests, rather similar approaches. Practical technologies solutions will come very soon when we begin to work, to speak on the deals. But what is more important, in my view, is to understand, we have very, very close understanding of what we might do together, and a very close basic position from which we can start. So my dream is the St. Petersburg, which proclaimed Russian-Vietnamese cooperation as a key priority in the international cooperation, might be exactly the good political basement for making this practical closer cooperation in the educational field, then in research development field, then in production field, manufacturing, technology transfer, and finally in selling our joint products and services, not only Russia-Vietnam, but worldwide, to gain this growing market of a new technological setup together. So I appeal to you, please use this moment. This moment comes once every 40 years, 50 years. So let's work together to catch the opportunity and to grow together.
Yes, and to finalize, I would just read a few messages from Ms. Zhang, Vice President of Vinasa. She had to go because she had some very important meeting, but we typed, and she told, I think we should start first and things will be improved and we have more efforts. And finally, she mentioned, I have some more ideas for the cooperation. So I hope that this first step, which definitely isn't the perfect one, but would help us to have the real cooperation with Vinasa, with other Vietnamese companies in IT sphere, and as well Russians. And we hope that St. Petersburg will participate in this business. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for coming. Thank you for your time, and hope we will see once more. Goodbye.